Take 10 seconds and try to create a word of these letters. Rearrange them to form a word. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. And if my counting disturbed you, that was intentional. So I want to talk to you about icebergs. Not really, but metaphorically. You know what's one very impressive thing about icebergs? Have you heard of the phrase, the tip of the iceberg? One of the most intriguing things about icebergs is that what appears on the surface is the smallest portion, and what's beneath forms the most of it. Why am I talking about icebergs here? This is a self-development video, and in the last video we spoke about the wheel of life, which was a presentation of different areas of our lives. It's used for assessment of our current state of being. Now every time you make a growth plan, it's a good idea to start with an assessment. Now if you look at all the areas of your life, your health, wealth, relationships, etc., self-development is one that you want to pay attention to. And if self-development is on your mind, then you want to understand what your whole self looks like. I hope you get my point now. Any individual's whole self is like an iceberg. The tip of it is visible to a lot of people. The surface of it, on and off, is visible and sometimes not. But there is a huge portion of oneself which is usually not visible to the rest of the world and even to one's own self. It depends on your self-awareness, how much you know about yourself or about all the elements that create the whole you. Let's look at what I mean by this. So the tip of the iceberg, called your whole self or your personality, is ABCD: your appearance, your behavior, your communication and your digital presence. Now this is a very digital era. We all have our impressions on digital media, and everything that you do, everything that you put out there says a lot about your personality. So ABCD is that aspect of your persona which is visible to the rest of the world: appearance, behavior, communication and digital presence. You may also call these your image. Now as you dive deeper into your own self to identify or to be aware of what makes you you, you will find out a set of knowledge and skills that you have. They are always somewhere on the surface. People know what you know about, people know what your skills are, and a lot of your knowledge and skills are also beneath the surface. If you go deeper, that is where the real meat of you comes out to be. So if you know yourself really well, you will know what your traits are, what your attitude is like, what your motives are, what motivates you and what drives you. What are the things that you want? And that's just a rough explanation of my motives. More importantly, you need to know what your self-image is. And by self-image, I mean, how do you see yourself? Do you think you are a kind human being? Do you think you're confident? And here, when you talk about your self-image, you don't have to listen to others. What do you think you look like to yourself? What do you think your behavior is like? What do you think about your communication? And do you communicate with yourself? But the most important element of your whole self is your set of values. Why do I say that your values create the most important elements of your whole self? Because your values drive your appearance, your behavior, your communication, your digital presence. Your values drive how you behave. Your values drive the kind of posts you make on social media. Your values also drive the kind of attire you wear, the kind of expression you carry, everything about you. So your values drive everything about you. Your values create your perception. Your values make you do things the way you do them. Your values restrict you from growing. Your values help you grow. Depends on the set of values that you have. Now as you keep diving deeper, you will get a better and better understanding of your own self. And as you know, I always say it's a mandate to really know where you stand in order to plan your growth or progress. So this is how an individual's whole self looks like. It's pretty much exhaustive. You can create an iceberg for yourself and then see what are your areas of strength, what are the areas that you want to work on. Believe me, self-development is a lifelong journey and you wish to start well. Now before I proceed, let me tell you that it's easier to work on the surface. It gets difficult as you go down deeper, but the fulfillment is always more if you make an improvement in the elements which fall beneath the surface. It does not mean that you ignore any. At your own pace and speed, keep working on all of these or one of these, or take your pick. So I want to close by inviting you to create an iceberg for your own self that will help you really understand yourself. It will not take more than 10 to 15 minutes. Try to create an iceberg representation of yourself. I'll leave you with an example of my own iceberg representation. It's not exhaustive, but I've put out quite a few elements there. So if others were to believe, and if my own knowledge about myself is to be believed, then I believe I'm very jolly, I am well behaved, I'm assertive, but I struggle with saying no. I am not digitally hyperactive. In terms of my knowledge and skills, I believe I know the learning process, I understand self-development, I have the right skills to coach, I communicate well, I can present, etc. The ones that are presented here. My traits, values, self-image says that I am lazy, I feel that I'm lazy. I feel that I'm confident, I'm very practical, that's my attitude. I'm aggressive, and when I say aggressive, I don't mean I'm very short-tempered or I have anger issues, but what I mean is that whatever I get into, I really get into with a lot of aggression. I'm also very expressive, that's what I believe about myself, so that's a self-image, you may call it my self-image. One of my core values is freedom. So I do a lot of self-assessment, and this is what I've identified. Like I said, this is not exhaustive, but it will be really a great experience if you sit down and create a very exhaustive iceberg for yourself. Try doing that. You do not have to do it all at once. You may do it for 15 minutes, complete your iceberg, leave the sheet aside, and try doing it further in a day or two. Keep thinking about it. This exercise will help you improve your self-awareness a great deal. And from here, you can identify the areas that you want to work on. I want to invite your comments in the comment section, and I want to leave comments with one of the elements from the surfaces that are visible about you, one of the elements from your knowledge and skills, and one element from beneath the surface. You might want to write a few more from beneath the surface, because that is where the real work is. Always remember, you need to work on all of these to have a holistic development. And also, the deeper you go, the level of effort, the time and energy required will always increase. I hope this information helps. Information helps when you put it to use, and I invite you to use it. Leave a comment below. My name is Shipra Singh. I'm a learning and development consultant, and you can find my detailed bio by clicking the link in the description. Thank you. I will see you again soon.